So today, guys, Trump and Elon are now in a dogfight. Panic is literally running rampant throughout the GOP, and we're starting to see who is actually moving across the aisle and going over to the Democrats in order to try and get something. They're trying to unend Trump's political agenda right now when it comes to everything. We are seeing some long-standing Republicans that are wanting to limit Trump's executive powers right now, his executive orders. They do not believe that what Trump is doing is what's best for America, so now they're trying to talk with Democrats, and it is insane that the true America First Patriots, true MAGA Patriots show themselves, but also the other side does too as well. We got people like Mitch McConnell and Cornyn and some others, guys, that are threatening to disrupt Trump's agenda on the reconciliation bill for the budget that they're working on right now. They're saying if he doesn't pull back on the tariffs agenda, that they are willing to disrupt the budget reconciliation bill because Trump needs to be kept in check. But Trump has a backbone of steel and says nothing will change his agenda moving forward because America is going to be first. He said, if you continue to fight, you will be primaried. Because of the new findings of the Doge teams, many elections across the United States are being relooked at that were won by Democrats. By only a couple of thousands of votes, those will be reassessed and voters have to prove their eligibility to vote. Now that we know that tens of thousands of illegals were actually voting in the 2024 election, this changes everything. The panic is setting in. The Democrats do not know what to do because Doge found where their money pot was at, where the gravy train, but they also found the tens of thousands of illegals that were actually given social security numbers and actually voted in the 2024 election. This is 100% true. We're going to show you the receipts, guys. This is something that we knew it. We called it out. And every left-wing media outlet said it was false. Every Democrat leader said it was false. But they knew what was going on. And now we have caught them. The Doge check update is moving along. And now more than ever, the man leading the Doge team operations, so they have the COO, this Chief Operations Officer of Doge under Elon Musk, said we are on track to find our $2 trillion in wasteful spending, and we will get the American people a Doge check. We got all the receipts to show you that the wasteful spending is merited and is being pulled back at this moment in time. It is getting so real right now against that the resistance is fighting so hard that Trump's administration has been working with the DOJ, the Department of Justice, and they just created a new task force to operate out of the educational department to protect female athletes from gender ideology in schools and in sports. No men in women's sports. They specifically created a new task force for this out of the DOJ. Guys, things are happening. We are seeing Trump is changing the world. So many countries have bent the knee. China, of course, has raised their tariffs on us by 34%. But Trump's backbone of steel, we need to make sure is carried out, and we need to weed out the swamp. I want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers, to all of our viewers. We appreciate you so much. And if you are not subscribed, please consider joining our TrueLife News family. We want to serve you every day with the top news. Want to say thank you to everybody that is a member of the channel. The link is in the description if you want to join. Remember, we donate this money back to charity on the 22nd of every single month. You see me live on stream donate thousands of dollars to local charities because it's making a difference, guys. We're going to bring positive change through this channel and through your support. And want to give some love to those that give a super chat donation, like Thomas Chan. Y'all show Thomas some love in the chat, as well as John Profchi Jr. already before the video started. Y'all show John some love in the chat as well, guys. And if you don't mind doing us a huge favor of hitting that thumbs up like button. We are so excited where things are going, guys, but the panic is real for the Democratic Party and for certain GOP members that are being found out that they're not truly Republicans and they're not truly on Trump's side. Check this out.
The patient will be out in a minute, and you'll be able to say hi.
It was an operation, like when a patient gets operated on, and it's a big thing. I said this would exactly be the way it is. We have $6 or $7 trillion coming into our country, and we've never seen anything like it. The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom, and the rest of the world wants to see, is there any way they can make a deal?
Trump says the prognosis is that the patient will be stronger, bigger, better, and more resilient than ever before. But first, it has to heal. And healing takes time. The American economy is in pain. It's been walking around with a limp for decades. Emergency surgery was necessary.
Yes.
For 40 years, we have gone down that pathway. We've seen closing factories. We've seen rising inflation. We've seen the cost of housing so high that most Americans can't afford to buy a home right now. President Trump is taking this economy in a different direction. He ran on that, he promised it, and now he's delivering. And yes, this is a big change. I'm not going to shy away from it, but we needed a big change, Lawrence. We cannot keep going down the Joe Biden globalist pathway where we have $2 trillion of peacetime debt and deficits. We have manufacturing disappearing. That is not working for Americans. We've got to take this country in a different direction.
Kamala Harris admitted during the campaign that the American dream was dead. She didn't have to say it, but we all knew it. Her boss and his gang killed it. American workers haven't gotten a real raise in 30 years. And the saddest part is our own companies conspired with the politicians to keep it that way.
Guys, let me tell you this, and I want to show you this really quick because it matters. You don't think that they've been working behind the scenes? You can go to any AI, you can look it up, you can Google it. I'm showing it to you right here. That since 1970, you didn't realize this, but 75 to 90,000 factories have closed in the United States. 75 to 90,000 factories have closed in the 1970s. Trump knows what he's doing. We've been screwed over by politicians for too long. And when you look at the actual data, we're trying to bring it back because this accounts for tens of millions of jobs that were lost because we didn't put America first.
Factories out of the country used dirt cheap foreign labor and sold the product back into the country with no tariff and made a killing. And then they said, enjoy your cheap TVs. Well, what good's a cheap TV if you're barely making any money, your factory closed down, and you live in a ghost town? Watch your shows and shut up, is basically what they said. Is that really the best we can do for the country?
What gives you so much certainty that this is going to work and that this isn't going to hurt the everyday American?
The largest tariff and trade barrier country in the world is China, and they don't have inflation. So these things don't occur the way people suggest they do. This is a reordering of global trade for the benefit of America. These people have all been living in our house. They've been driving our car. They come by and visit, open our fridge, and eat our food whenever they want. They've taken advantage of us. Today was the day of the beginning of saying, I'm sorry, you can't just live for free off of us. You have to pay.
It's only been 24 hours since the surgery, and the media is already saying, they can't walk. Paul Krugman wonders, will malignant stupidity kill the world economy? Well, Krugman knows a thing or two about being malignantly stupid. He's the one who said if Trump was elected in 2016, he'd plunge the world into a recession. Instead, wages rose, unemployment hit 50-year lows, the stock market hit all-time highs, and we had zero inflation. And Trump's not worried about the world economy. He's worried about the American one. Jim Cramer's chiming in, too.
We have a market that was doing extremely well last year until the Trump administration showed a level of uncertainty that I can't recall any time since Are You Ready, Ski Daddy, Jimmy Carter, which is the last time people were really worried about inflation, about stagflation, okay? Back then, stagflation was real. Now, Jimmy Carter, curious benchmark, break out the cardigan sweater. I know it's a brutal comparison. You think I did it idly? I cannot think of another president in my lifetime who knocked down the stock market simply by opening his mouth.
Kramer's the guy who told you to sell Tesla 15 years ago. It's up 20,000% since then.
Woo!
When Trump slapped tariffs on China in his first term, the stock market tanked too. And Cramer's eyeballs popped right out of his head. But then his eyeballs always pop right back in because manufacturing came back, China negotiated a deal, and the market ripped. The people criticizing the trade war have been wrong about everything. These are the same people who triggered China's rise, the same people who pushed NAFTA, and the same people who said, let's just shut down the entire economy for 2 years and spend $1 gazillion bucks. So far, Trump's been right about China, the border, the Green New scam. There's a pretty good chance he's right about trade.
Boom, baby. Guys, if you appreciate this, look at the bottom tag. The experts got everything wrong. Remember when they said mask, you can't get COVID if you have a mask? Remember when they said that, oh, the border's secure? Guys, this is what I love. This is true accountability at its finest. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, I'm so excited what I'm going to show you next too, because again, videos are forever, especially when you got X, and you're going to love what you're about to see.
Donald Trump isn't the president of the New York Stock Exchange. He's the president of the United States of America and is looking at the future of the country 10, 20, 30, 50 years from now, not just earnings the next quarter. Pat Buchanan once said, quote, to me, the country comes before the economy, and the economy exists for the people. And not just certain people, everyone. The way we're talking about globalism kind of reminds me of COVID. Remember how you weren't really allowed to question anything?
Nothing.
Governors who wanted to end lockdowns, they were called dumb and dangerous. Everyone had to conform. Well, the lockdowns weren't working for most of us. And if globalism's not working anymore, we're allowed to change it up. Trump's got every right to change it up. He ran on it and won on it. We're not just asking everybody to change their religion. Just change how much access we give the world. Because right now we're giving the world full access and getting nothing back. This isn't new. America used to have no income tax. We raised all revenue from tariffs. And that made us an industrial powerhouse that won us 2 world wars. Protecting the working man used to be what both parties did. Here's Nancy from '96. She sounded like Trump in a pantsuit.
In terms of jobs, this is the biggest and cruelest hoax of all. Not only do we not have market access, not only do they have prohibitive tariffs, not only are our exports not let in very specifically, but China benefits with at least 10 million jobs from U.S.-China trade.
Nancy used to be a patriot, but then...
Guys, what does this show you? It shows you honestly pureness. I say innocence. You got to understand what I'm saying, innocence. But before the money got involved, before the lobbyists got involved, before they lined their pockets deep with cash from God knows where, before their net worth skyrocketed, because these people didn't have any money. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, they didn't come from money. You hear them and they sound just like Trump. They speak just like Elon Musk because it was before the money. But now you hear them and they've already taken the money. The corruption is already settled in. It's now in their blood, and that's why they're fighting Trump so hard on it. Guys, it breaks my heart because I believe 1996 Pelosi truly cared about America and wanted to do what's right. 2025 Pelosi, not a chance.
A pillow talk with Paulie P made her $200 million, and now all she cares about is her portfolio, not the American people. Back in the day, Bernie Sanders was calling Bush and Obama sellouts for what they did to the country.
What they have said is that we need to not worry about manufacturing in America because what we should establish is a policy of unfettered free trade. We don't need tariffs. What we need is to allow corporate America the freedom to throw American workers out on the street because somehow, Madam President, we are going to create wealth in America and good paying jobs in America as we shut down plants, we move to China, corporations there pay workers 20, 30 cents an hour, and we bring the product back into this country.
History proved both of them right. So why aren't Bernie and Nancy celebrating Liberation Day? Nancy called Trump's tariffs reckless, and Bernie said nothing. Trump's doing what Democrats demanded for decades: protect our industry and commit to fair trade. Now, I'm only in my 40s. I know I look a lot younger, but I've never seen a president stand up to Wall Street. Have you? Trump just stared the market right in the face while it sold off 4%. It's like sending your screwed up son to a military academy. You know it's going to hurt him at first, and he's not going to like it, and it's going to be painful. But in the long run, it's going to make him a man. The right thing to do isn't always easy. It's easy to do nothing and keep the country crumbling and let the next generation handle it. We're already seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. General Motors just announced it's ramping up production of trucks in Indiana, and hiring more Americans. Big Beef is over the moon about tariffs. They say, for too long, America's family farmers and ranchers have been mistreated by certain trading partners around the world. President Trump is taking action to address numerous trade barriers that prevent consumers overseas from enjoying high-quality, wholesome American beef. There's billions of consumers in Australia, India, China, Japan, Europe, and we can't sell them our beautiful beef. We can't sell them our cars, our rice.
Our USDA
They can
Prime.
tax our products, but if we dare tax theirs, it's insanity. Silicon Valley's excited about the tariffs because the Europeans have been brutalizing them. Some are so excited they're moving next door to the White House. Zuckerberg just paid $23 million for his own personal embassy next to Trump. Energy prices, mortgage rates, treasury yields, already all coming down. And the administration's already liking what it sees. And if you're worried cars are going to cost more, buy American. Ford is giving shoppers a handshake deal.
For the next couple of months, we're going to offer our customers the same deal that our employees get. And as you say, that's worth thousands of dollars. You come into our store, you get employee pricing. This is kind of to call a little bit of a timeout. We've heard some uncertainty from our customers, and we want them to be assured that Ford, the most American auto company, is going to do right by them as our dealers. We make the most cars here. We employ the most. We export the most. And so we here at Ford, we're in a good position to address customers' concern and give them a really great deal on a great vehicle.
Now, we don't know how long the trade war is going to last, but countries are already lining up to bargain.
Those tariffs have come in, and every country's called us. That's the beauty of what we do. We put ourselves in the driver's seat. If we would have asked some of these countries, almost most of these countries, to do us a favor, they would have said no. Now they'll do anything for us.
Are you open to deals with these countries if they're calling you?
Well, it depends. If somebody said that we're going to give you something that's so phenomenal, as long as they're giving us something that's good. The tariffs give us great power to negotiate. Always have. I've used them very well in the first administration, as you saw, but now we're taking it to a whole new level because it's a worldwide situation.
France, Thailand, South Korea, already signaling they'll just do whatever we want. This is the first time in 100 years America's stood up for itself on trade. Countries know 47 means business because he knows business. Eric Trump puts it this way, quote, "I wouldn't want to be the last country that tries to negotiate a trade deal with the president.
Oh, that's true.
The first to negotiate will win. The last will absolutely lose. I've seen this movie my entire life."
Guys, is that not beautiful what we are seeing now? I want to show you this from the leading report. Guys, President Trump says every country has called the White House in response to the tariffs. Why? Because they're going to affect them. We're 100% going to see a change. We're 100% going to see people moving in the right direction towards Trump. Why? Because we're the United States. We're the superpower of the world. We have been living with this, guys. Look at this. This is a visual representation of the Democratic Party over the years pretending to help Americans. The whole time, they're controlling it. They gave away our factories. They gave away our dollar. We moved away from the gold standard. They let in the tens of millions of illegals. They sold out our Social Security. I mean, we have been screwed over by politicians for the past 50 years, and everybody's barely starting to see it because we had two anti-establishment people, Trump and Elon Musk, stand in the gap to say, you know what? We're not going to get screwed over anymore. This stuff has to happen in order for the world to the United States to understand that we are going to move the world towards America. Want to say thank you so much, Patsy Garcia, for joining the family, and Kathy L. Let's go. Pamela Dunbar for the super chat, and B1 Sly One said, chat happy your family is safe and your roof is still intact. Hit those likes, friends. Let's go. And April Green, who said, search Newsmax polls 2025 to vote for Trump. Guys, sorry, we have had some crazy tornadoes and things where we live at. It's just been nuts, but thank you so much for supporting us. Y'all show them some love in the chat, because I'm telling you this, guys, what you're about to hear next is the real deal. When you hear it from the very person who is actually inside, not just Elon Musk, the details will make you so frustrated, but it should make you happy that we're exposing it all. Check this out.
We mapped it through to the benefit programs. We found in the benefit programs that every benefit program we looked at was being accessed by these people. 1.3 million of them are on Medicaid right now, today. And by the way, it's just ramping, it's just starting, just to give you a point. And then out of curiosity, I woke up at night like 2 a.m. I couldn't sleep, my mind was right on this. I sent the engineers a note saying, hey guys, let's just look at the public voter rolls, see what we find in some friendly states. And we looked at the voter rolls and we found that thousands of them are registered to vote in a handful of states.
And look at, you just heard them. Thousands of people, illegals, were registered to vote in these states, and they voted. And I'm going to show you, because they're now starting to look back at a lot of close races, and they're going to go and recount them, guys. This is monumental. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, this is so amazing for America to get us to an America First agenda.
And then we went even further with those friendly states and found that many of those people had actually voted. It was shocking to us. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it. And so now the question we're asking ourselves is, what do we do? We referred some to prosecution. That's ongoing right now. We're thinking through how to do it. And the reality is they have various kinds of status, and it's a very detailed analysis legally they're working through right now about how to deal with it.
So thousands of those people registered to vote.
Yes.
In the election.
Which is a federal crime, by the way.
Well, yeah. I mean, the interesting thing is, like, the Heritage Foundation has a very good project. It's obviously right-leaning, where they're studying all cases of fraud. I looked at it before we were here. There's only been 24 cases since 2003 of somebody who's a non-citizen trying to vote. Now, those are people caught. So this would be incredibly dramatic if it was even 1,000 people.
Oh, no, Jason, it's more than 1,000. I've seen it. I've seen the data myself, and it's more than 1,000 in just a couple.
And I'll say this, that guy, Jason Calacanis, super smart guy, really great capitalist, but he is one of the very reasons why so many people discredit that this was ever happening, because he's like, well, the Heritage Foundation, this said that there's none. No. When you have millions upon millions of illegals that are getting Social Security numbers and they're getting access to benefits, I promise you, by default, by logical reasoning, thousands of them, if there's tens of millions getting benefits and tens of millions here, there's probably thousands or even tens of thousands actually voting.
States. I mean, it is shockingly bad. And this is the tip of the iceberg, guys.
Tip of the iceberg.
This doesn't include these 7.8 million people that ICE has that have come in illegally and know are here, and all the people that came illegally we don't know are here. I mean, this is not a political issue. I want to be really clear about this.
Yeah, Antonio,
this is about America.
Let's just take one step back, because I just want you to repeat this. So, because I think it's important, and we may have just run over it a little too quickly. When you get a Social Security number, what you're saying is there's all of these important downstream consequences. Mm-hmm. One of the downstream consequences is you could show up, register to vote, and that's an illegitimate action that's breaking federal law. That's one. But the second is that without knowing who this person is, they can start to absorb resources that could have otherwise gone to an American. I guess that's like a fundamental part of this.
Yes,
and so
absolutely.
How do you quantify that? Can you just maybe explain it a little bit more about all of the different ways in which you think now, the United States ends up leaking services to these folks?
And also they could be contributing too, right? They could be paying taxes into the system. So I guess there's both of those possibilities, and both of those have fingerprints to them up. So yeah, good question.
Look, we need to figure this out. This is it's massively complex. You can see the map I have on the whiteboard in our office. It's huge. And we're figuring it out right now. But let me just tell you this. In every benefit program we looked at, and this is just a handful of states, we found people on all the benefit programs. And we found them on unemployment. We found them on Medicaid. So, Jason, to your point, the people on Medicaid and unemployment, they're not contributing. They're taking out, they're mooching.
Boom.
There are criminals. I mean, look, we sent this data list to the National Targeting Center. I don't want to get too far into the data, but I can tell you they found hard hits in the Targeting Center of very bad people, criminals and people on the terrorist watch list that are in this group. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a problem. We got to figure out how to deal with it. And of course, there are people that are also, have jobs and paying in the system. That's also true. All these things are true. And we're trying to sort through the data and figure out how to actually deal with it now.
Do you hear that? So there's people on the terror watch list that are getting Medicare benefits, Medicaid, they're getting Social Security benefits because we let in all these tens of millions of illegals and couldn't vet them. This is what the Biden administration did. This is what they wanted. This is total corruption, everybody. We're now seeing it only because Trump and Elon, they won the White House. And I say it, if Elon wasn't a part of this, I don't think Trump would have had a hard time winning. Not that he couldn't have won, but Elon brought a lot of independence because Elon used to be a Democrat. And he did a lot of campaigning for Trump in Pennsylvania too. But let me tell you this, look at the screen. In the North Carolina Supreme Court race where the Democrat won by just 700 votes, 65,000 voters must now prove they were eligible to vote or face removal from the count in a ruling from a judge because of the new evidence that is being found out by the Doge team that we had tens of thousands of people that were illegal that were actually voting in these super important Supreme Court races, the federal race for the president. That's why they're going back to relook at the Wisconsin race. All this is tied together. All this was intentional. Democrats can't win on their policies or their merit. They've got to do it by bringing in people that aren't even supposed to be here or not even supposed to be able to vote. Guys, this is the receipts and the facts of what is actually going on. This is the stuff you're not going to see on mainstream media. This is why we appreciate you when you support us, you watch, you like the videos, you share these videos, because we want to show you the actual truth and the details of what is actually happening behind the scenes. Listen to this.
Listen, judges right now are trying to get a contempt charge on Trump. They're trying to stop Trump in every aspect, including tariffs, which now they're suing like crazy. The judicial insurrection in the United States is the main event of the Trump agenda going forward. In Brazil, our great ally, Bolsonaro, is on trial for his life. For why? Questioning an election. Why they come after Trump for insurrection? Questioning a stolen election. 4 years in prison for Le Pen in France. Romania, they threw out the winner's election. No, can't do it. And in South Korea last night, they removed the president. Now, is this guy the greatest guy in human history? Probably not. But he's an anti-communist, anti-CCP, duly elected by the South Korean people. And somebody better wake up. Mm-hmm. I would like to have seen Pete, and I realized Pete was making the distinction of the three island chains, but man, oh man, a stop in South Korea would have been very important. We got to somehow, somebody in the State Department, Defense Department, somebody got to step up to the plate and say, yo, what's the CCP doing here? We just went to war with the CCP last night. Heck, they got ships all around Taiwan. Oh, just an exercise. Totally random. I don't know how that occurred. They punched back last night. They're going to give as good as they get, they say on trade. Good luck with that, Xi, as your economy melts to the ground. What President Trump is doing is fundamental to this nation. You can't live with a $25 trillion trade deficit. That's money. $25 trillion has gone out of this nation to buy goods from foreign sources that gamed the system, principally in China. The deficit since China's come in is in the early 2000s, I think formally all in, is $18 trillion. I have on Getter this morning. If you haven't gotten Getter, it's a free app. Go to Getter because this is where I'm putting up stuff all night. If we can pull that. A Warren Buffett article, the Oracle of Omaha in 2003, when the trade deficit was it was big, but it was nothing compared to today, saying it's the end of the country unless we take care of this. Ezra Klein's book says the credential class are like those little kids in school. Remember in grade school, all the suck-ups? And I'm sorry if this sat in the front of the class and teacher. It's all about process, and they turn around. Hey, Bannon's, goofing off in the back. That's what the Democratic Party is. These little things, you got Signal and you got the terror running around. It's all process to them. If you're outside of their bandwidth of what they understand as a process, and their bandwidth is quite tight and tiny, it only thinks of citizens of the world. We want every nation to thrive and prosper, but not at the expense of American workers. That's the system we have today. That the top 1% or the top 3% glean it all because that's the connective tissue to the globalist apparatus they have set up and let evolve to the detriment of this country. That is the raison d'etre of Donald John Trump. This is the core of his being. This is why he ran for public office. This is why he didn't flinch when they came after him to throw him in prison. This is why he didn't flinch when they brought the phony charges about him, assaulting women. This is why he didn't flinch when they tried to bankrupt him. This is why he's never flinched. He's an armor-piercing shell. He has gone to the globalist apparatus and hammered them. Our debt is 37 trillion, 38 trillion, exploding every day because we're not dealing with it. And oh, by the way, Elon, before you leave town, I just need you to check in and show me where the $1 trillion of cuts are. We're your biggest supporters. We're your biggest supporters. We need to see, said it the other day, $1 trillion this year. I need to see that. This is urgent. It's an urgent request. We need to see it. And for Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, our brothers and sisters over the Justice Department, will you please just announce you got a grand jury on it? If it's $1 trillion in fraud, just give me a name. This is like now our version. We have to own this. This is our version. We got to own it, folks. We're saying it's $1 trillion in fraud and waste, and all these mean guys are running around. They're calling this cool. Hey, I'm all good. We need the $1 trillion a cut. I need to see Russ Vogt or somebody actually sign off and impound. Let's have a thing to impound wherever that money went. Boom, impound it. And I need to see one name, just like in HB1 visas. Of the millions that are here, show me one visa, that's more educated or has more work experience for the billet they took. Please show me that. Same for us. Let's have a cell phone here. Yo, Cash. Yo, Pam. Can I have one name? Just one. Give me one name on fraud. There should be millions of names, and we want them all. That has to happen. If you've stolen this money from taxpayers, everybody in the chain of command ought to be indicted, and the people that actually took the money and ended up with ought to be indicted. Got to do it.
Guys, you
hear this right now.
You hear this coming from Steve Bannon. This was Trump's strategist. You hear what's about to happen next. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, because what I'm about to show you next, the corruption is real. North Carolina, remember I just told you, North Carolina Appeals Court has determined 65,000 ballots might have been illegally counted in the 2024 election. Democrats only won by 700 votes. I bet, guys, $1,000 that there was illegal voters in there, like what Doge just found, and that the Democrats lost that Supreme Court race. And now I promise you, it's going to be overturned and Republicans are going to win that Supreme Court. This is going to happen all across the United States because of what Doge just found. You cannot have, and because this is being pushed by the Department of Justice, you cannot have where 65,000 ballots might have been illegally counted. You cannot have tens of thousands of illegals registered to vote, and you know they're registered, you know which state they're in, you know where they voted, and it was counted, and something not be done about it. because no matter what, they're still trying to come after Trump for his money, guys. What I'm about to show you is some of the most insane, just the activist judges going after Trump like nobody's business. Look at, oh, come on. Trying to see. Okay, I got to refresh this, guys, but I do want to say, I want to show you this. I just want to remind everybody, we are paying 535 members of Congress millions to do nothing. But we are paying nothing to President Trump to do everything. President Trump is not taking a paycheck, guys. He said, I'm not doing it. Country can't afford it. That's what a true CEO, a true boss does. When you can't afford it, they don't take a paycheck. Want to say thank you so much, Summerman, for the super chat. Let's go. He said, it's time to end the craziness, bring down the evil, law and order, in God we trust. Let's go. And April Green said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I love it. Amen. And thank you so much, Angela Rourke, for welcome to the family. And Michelle Lindsay, who said, this is dedicated to Austin Metcalf, the 17-year-old that was stabbed to death for no reason. Pray for his family, please. Guys, that's a tragic story. I hope there's accountability with what happened, because I'm telling you this, if they don't do anything about that, things are going to get real. Like, I feel like something's going to happen. They were at a track meet, this guy sitting in a supposedly spot, and the guy literally takes his life, and they're trying to politicize it, saying it's white and black, but it was a black student that took a white student's life. It's heartbreaking, guys. This type of crap should not be happening in the United States. But what it's happening is because there's so much polarization. The Democrat is trying to divide. And I'm telling you, if you look back at Obama in his years, that's whenever things really started to get even worse. And now the judges are trying to control what's going on. Listen to this.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thanks to all of the witnesses for being here. Let's just start by talking about the need to be here today and the fact that what we are seeing happen in district courts is, historically speaking, really unprecedented until recent years and completely out of sync with our constitutional system. You alluded to this, Mr. Panuccio, the way that our founders designed our constitutional system. Mr. Bray, Professor Bray, let me just start with you. According to your scholarship, when's the first time that a district court issued a universal non-party injunction of the kind that we're talking about today?
I think the first one is 1963. There is historical debate about when they started in the 20th century, but I think that would be the first one. But they certainly are not traditional in equity before then, and they were a peripheral backwater until 2015.
So 1963, so the Republic is 200 years old almost by the time we get the first district court issuing a universal injunction binding parties who were not before it. And even then, as you just alluded to, then there's this period of quiet where they're really not issued until the 21st century, until the 2010s. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then we see this explosion, as you can see in the chart behind me. In the Bush years, Bush 43, we have 6 universal injunctions binding non-parties. In the Obama years, we have 12. You referenced one of those cases, Professor Bray, in your opening statement, your written statement. And then under Trump in his first administration, 64 universal injunctions binding non-parties, 14 under Biden, and now 15 under the second Trump administration in 1 month alone. Mr. Panuccio, let me just come to you. Tell us why this pattern that we're seeing here, and there's a clear partisan valence to it, but there's even more of a recency valence. I mean, this is something that just did not happen until very, very recently. Why is this so distortive to our federal system?
Well, thank you, Senator. It's distortive because it has judges operating outside their constitutional role. They are exerting policymaking power over the whole country. And the issue is this. We are a republic. Those who get to exercise policymaking power, like yourself, like this body, have to face the electorate every 6 years, 2 years, 4 years, whatever it is. Judges do not. We gave them life tenure so that they could be insulated and make decisions without fear or favor. But we limited the judicial power to cases and controversies, just the party before them. And in my written testimony, I note that Hamilton said it's the least dangerous branch, but he had a caveat. Only if they exercise the judicial power. If they range beyond it, then it can be the most dangerous branch. And the public's confidence will be undermined because they have no chance to get rid of these judges because they have life tenure. They don't want to be ruled by kings. They want to be ruled in a republic where they have a vote.
And here's my concern is that this pattern of, I think, abuse, this pattern of out of control behavior that we're seeing that's illustrated on the graph that's behind me is not decelerating, it's accelerating. And now we're seeing it not just with injunctive relief, we're seeing it in other orders, other procedural forms that are deliberately designed to insulate the judges, the district courts from appellate review. Temporary restraining orders. You mentioned this, Mr. Panuccio. All of a sudden, we've seen a huge uptick in just the last few weeks in district courts issuing what looks a heck of a lot like a nationwide non-party injunction, but it's styled as a temporary restraining order. Now, Mr. Panuccio, if I were a judge who wanted to insulate myself from review, why might I choose the temporary restraining order vehicle to do it? Why is this happening?
Because, Senator, under current precedent, TROs, temporary restraining orders, are not immediately reviewable, unlike a preliminary injunction. So if you are a judge who believes a policy is unlawful and you want to exert power nationwide and you don't want anyone to review, the voters certainly won't. The only people who can do it are appellate judges. So you issue a TRO, then you extend it for another 2 weeks, and for at least a month, you can't be touched by the appellate courts.
And has this happened in the last few weeks?
It has been happening. We've seen straying beyond the typical preliminary injunction to TROs and other what are being called administrative stays, which also appear to be unreviewable.
So here, I think, is the issue that's before us. In one sense, it's entirely appropriate that we're here today, and it's entirely predictable given the urgency of this situation. In another sense, it's sort of a wonder we need to have a hearing on this at all, because my Democrat colleagues for the last few years have been decrying the very behavior that we're talking about now. And I think, as you pointed out, Mr. Panuccio, we've had multiple members of the last administration, for example, Joe Biden's Solicitor General Elizabeth Prager, she herself said in court, by the way, this wasn't a straight comment to the press, this is her at the Supreme Court, a court of equity may grant relief only to the parties before it. District courts violate this principle by issuing universal injunctions. Elena Kagan, Justice Kagan, it can't be right that one district court judge stop a nationwide policy in its tracks and leave it stopped for years while it goes through what is otherwise the normal process. I would just say to my Democrat colleagues, it shouldn't be, to quote the chairman, that one thing, or to quote the ranking member, that it's one rule for Democrats, it's one rule for Republicans. Let's make it one rule across the board that no matter who appoints you, a judge can only bind parties who are before her or him. There are no nationwide non-party injunctions. Let's make that the standard, and let's return these courts to the proper functioning of our constitutional system.
Thank you, Senator Hawley.
I almost...
You stuck to that timer. I'm so
for
proud
me,
of you.
It was really good.
Guys, why? Because this came out this morning, guys. This is huge. What I'm about to show you. So activist Judge Boasberg is considering holding Trump officials in contempt for not turning the planes around, deporting violent gang members. What does that mean? It means he can put them in jail. Like, this is literally how our judicial system is set up. That he could literally just say, we're going to hold them in contempt because they didn't do what I said, and I'm a district judge at the federal level, and I can control federal policy because the Constitution gives me the right. That is a bunch of baloney, guys. This right here, him just even saying it, it's getting talks out there. They're trying to threaten Trump with and his officials with this is outrageous. And this is why we need action coming from Congress to defund these activist judges from trying to control and put in jail Trump's cabinet people. Can you believe this? Like, this is real news right now that's happening. Like, it's blowing my mind, guys. Want to say I thank you so much, guys, for all your support. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button. This right here is just the beginning, guys, because not only that, we have to go back to where it started, because when I saw this video, I said, no way. No way.
Thank the gentleman.
No way this is real. Because remember how I showed you about Nancy Pelosi before she was bought out by big money, by the corruption? We got Chuck Schumer now. And listen, guys, I would vote for this guy in 1996. Listen to this. This is Chuck Schumer, who's about to literally say an America First agenda.
Thank the gentleman, salute him for his work on this, rise in support of the amendment. First of all, Social Security card is used from one end of America to the other as an identification card right now. Who are we kidding? If you want to pass a law and says it shouldn't be, I would ask the chairman and the distinguished minority member of the Social Security committee to pass that law, but let's admit the truth. Everywhere people go, they're asked for a Social Security card. In fact, one way to prove you're a bona fide person who can have a job is to ask for a driver's license and a Social Security card. This is an anti-fraud amendment.
Right there.
Over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud. And here, the gentleman from Florida has put together the most effective anti-fraud measure we can find without it changing the actions of the government one bit. And we find all this opposition.
Did you just hear this, guys? They're trying to secure Social Security. They're trying to keep illegals from abusing the system. They're trying to keep illegals from taking Americans' benefits. And he's like, we have proposed this amendment and we have all this opposition. Guys, do you not, like, this is what blows my mind. This is why they say the Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. They get corrupt because they start loving something that they didn't in the beginning. This is pre-corruption. Sounds a lot like Elon Musk. Sounds a lot like Donald Trump. And it blows my mind, guys, because it's like, what happened? These people probably had really good intentions and were trying to cut out. But then they started getting paid and then the corruption settled in. Because I'm telling you what, guys, cleaning out government is not going to be easy, but it's necessary. Check this out.
Welcome back. Layoff announcements in March surging to the highest levels since the pandemic. A new report finding that Doge has contributed to a 672% increase in government job cuts since the first quarter of last year. Trump's efforts to reprivatize the U.S. economy are in full swing, shifting money from bureaucratic control back into the hands of the people. And Brian, we have had these conversations every time under Joe Biden we would get a jobs number. A lot of the hiring in the last 4 years was in the government. They are now slashing, getting rid of the excess, getting rid of the waste and the inefficiencies. And unfortunately, that includes people. But that's going to have an...
Guys, it's so... Did you just hear? The jobs reports that Biden had were all manufactured. They were fake because it was the government just getting bigger. That's how they created jobs. It wasn't the real private sector economy growing. It was the government just fudging the numbers, trying to make themselves look good. It was all fraud. Thank you so much, Patrick Trebet, for the super chat. Hey, that's my favorite GIF. I love that one, the superhero GIF. Let's go. Y'all show Patrick some love in the chat.
Impact, and it's going to serve as wonderful fodder, political football for the left-wing media to kick around too.
Well, that's what, so the headline was you had this massive number of layoffs, right? And so, oh my goodness sakes, it's evidence that the Trump economy is not working. But then buried in the report, if you read kind of down, it says, oh, it would have otherwise been a fairly quiet month for layoffs.
Right.
So what's happening is by design. They're reducing waste in the federal government, reducing employment in the federal government, and it's freeing up resources, and the private economy can chug along just fine. But what we've got to watch is paying attention to headline numbers over the next few months, which mix government and private, and then the interpretation that, oh, it's a bad number overall, when really no, the component parts are exactly what you want to see. Private sector okay, government sector losing ground, and good because we should deleverage the government.
How many jobs at the federal sector are going to lose? 30,000?
This last report, this federal sector made up 216,000 of the 275,000 reductions in this last report.
The federal sector?
Yep.
How many?
Furloughs in the
Almost all
federal
of them.
government totaled 216,000 for the month of a total 275.
Is that normal attrition? That's not what
No.
Elon Musk has done.
No, that's not normal attrition.
That's not normal
Not even
attrition.
close.
Because last I heard that for severance pay, purposes, it was a much smaller number.
Oh, okay, if you were calculating it.
I mean, the guy. Remember the Brett Baer interview of Elon and his lieutenants. The guy said it was 0.15. 0.15 was the layoff from the federal.
These are furloughs too, though, so they may not be affected as layoffs yet.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've got.
The severance goes until the end of the summer. It goes until September.
Yeah, September.
So
That's right. But total civilian employment in the USA is 160 million some odd. 160 million.
Yeah.
So these are small fractions. All right. And it's crazy to say we're going to throw into a recession. I mean, everything that comes out, the left-wing media says is going to throw us into a recession. But it's a small fraction of the total labor force.
Small.
160 million people.
right. And to that point, it's a larger piece of Trump's economic policy. Taylor, we've been talking a lot today about tariffs. We've been talking about the stock market, but also, this is a piece of it. We're going to wait for that bill. Slashing spending is a huge component to how he plans to get the overall picture to come together.
And to drive growth and to reprivatize the private sector. I think, unfortunately, right now we're in this, I hate to say it, another sort of it doesn't matter period where, like with the jobs day tomorrow, no one's going to care about those numbers. I want to see the jobs numbers a month from now to get the full impact of tariffs. And so some of the numbers like ISN that came out this morning, right? Kind of irrelevant because we got tariffs last night. I want to see what goes on in the numbers now post last night.
I'll just repeat. I mean, I know, look, we're business people. And so when you have a very bad day in the stock market, it's a bummer. Okay?
Yeah.
I get that. But it's not the whole story. Trump has a pro-growth policy in its entirety. It's very important. We were talking about the CEOs. They love the lower corporate tax.
Right.
They love the 100% expensing. They love the deregulation.
Part of what they're doing is just hemming and hawing, and they can make some, if not, if they can't make all the changes that he's asking them to make, they certainly can make some, and I think he's willing to meet them in the middle somewhere. So we'll see, but we got a bolt, Larry. I'm so sorry.
But what's positive is the fact you've got a 4% on the 10-year right now. The opposite, I know the market's selling off, but people are buying bonds. And if you've got a nation, which Scott Besson is facing down, that has to refinance half its debt in 2 years, more than half. This is the time to do it. And you take short-term Janet Yellen, and now you can right-size the borrowing curve again.
Guys, I'm
Welcome
telling
back.
you,
Layoff and
like we're moving in the right direction. Things are, every single day. I love what I'm seeing. I love how much is changing. Think about it like this. Trump posted this today and said, just had a very productive call with Tatum, General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam, who told me that Vietnam wants to cut their tariffs down to 0 if they're able to make an agreement with the U.S. I thanked him on behalf of our country and said I look forward to a meeting in the near future. The art of the deal, people. This is Trump's way of doing it. Because, guys, the more and more that comes out, the more and more that we see Democratic parties across the nation have been doing this. Austin training illegals to evade deportation. The city's equity office is using taxpayer funds to host virtual meetups for illegal aliens to provide them techniques and tactics to avoid efforts by federal officials to deport them. Guys, if this doesn't constitute jail time for these people, I don't know what does. You're literally harboring or an accessory to harboring these people that are not supposed to be here. And the more and more that this comes out, the more that we see what? They are literally losing it on every segment. And I'm going to show you this too, guys, because I love this. Because there's a big talk right now, Obama versus Trump for a third term because of what Trump has said. Listen to this.
As for him going up against Barack Obama, Once upon a time, I thought Barack Obama would smoke them. I'm not so sure anymore.
Ho-ho!
It was Barack Obama that spoke on behalf of Kamala Harris. Michelle Obama certainly put forth her due diligence in doing the same. Where did that get them? They lost the popular vote, lost the Electoral College vote, lost every swing state, lost the Senate, lost the House. I mean, damn, it's L's all over the place. Now, Barack Obama will always be my president. I voted for the man, love the man, respect the man. But we have an obligation to be honest here. The numbers and the facts have shown that while Obama himself has been popular all of these years, his policies may not be.
Ooh.
Because judicial seats, congressional seats, Senate seats, gubernatorial seats, all L's all over the place when it came to Democrats during his administration. From 2009 to 2016, look at the numbers. Look at the drop-off. Look at the number that was there when he arrived. And look at the numbers of judicial seats, gubernatorial seats, congressional seats, Senate seats when he departed. It's inescapable. There's no way around that. That is factual evidence that while he is popular and very much liked and resonate with a vast majority of American citizens out there, black, white, Latino, and everything in between, it doesn't necessarily resonate with others as it pertains to his policies, or at least the people who he supports, who co-sign on his policies. Because those people can't, they can't stay in office. So now it would be interesting if Barack Obama could get a third term and decided to run again, and Donald Trump and him wanted to run up against one another. I'm not gonna lie about that, but it wouldn't be the foregone conclusion it once was.
Guys, I'm telling you, what would that be? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, because to see Trump and Obama go at it for their third term as president, guys, would that not be the showdown of history? It'd be like Rocky versus Drago. It'd be, oh my goodness, guys. Like, I know I'm talking, it's a fictional movie, but it's that big. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I personally would like to see it happen, because I think after the next 2 years, the country is going to be in such an economic boom that people are going to be like, you know what? Trump's the guy. Let's make it happen. But I'm telling you this, if the Supreme Court does not step in on these dang judicial judges, guys, or Congress, I don't know if Trump's going to get his agenda done. Listen to this.
Rogue justices to misuse nationwide injunctions. Anyway, here with more. Chairman Jim Jordan is with us. Mr. Chairman, to me, it's just an extension of lawfare.
Good to be with you, Sean.
To me, this is what they can't get done at the ballot box, what they can't get done legislatively. They go out judge picking, they find the right judge, and they get their injunction, and here we go.
Yeah, it's a fundamental question, Sean. Who gets to decide? The 77 million people who showed up on Election Day, voted for President Trump, knew what he said he was going to do. He's now doing that. Do they get to decide, we the people, or is it some district judge, some unelected district judge who gets to make the call? And that's just not how our system works. And then when you think about it, it's an unelected district judge who gets to make the call for the entire country right now. And so we have legislation, just like Senator Grassley is going to have in the Senate, we have legislation sponsored by Representative Issa, which would say the same thing. District judge, if you have a ruling, an injunction, it applies to the parties in the case in that respective jurisdiction. It doesn't apply nationwide. We're also looking at the appropriations process, and we're doing oversight like we did today at that hearing. All three levers we have in the House, in the Congress, to put pressure on the judicial branch to do it the right way.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about what you think Congress can do. And if, in fact, the House and the Senate can come up with a bill they agree with, okay, that means this would all go away, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we got to get it passed in the Senate. I think we can pass it in the House. We got the majority there. Of course, in the Senate to pass legislation, you got the 60-vote hurdle. You need the supermajority. But maybe, again, we've had justices like Justice Kagan who've said that this shouldn't be the case where one district judge can apply an injunction that impacts the entire country. So you even have justices on the left who've said this is a problem. So maybe we can get to 60, get this legislation passed. But we should continue to do oversight, continue to highlight these decisions that seem so ridiculous. Like Judge Boasberg saying, bring the bad guys back to the country. Terrorists, gang members, trendy Aragua gang members who've done terrible things, bring them back. That makes no sense. So highlight that as well. And finally, look at the appropriations process, the power of the purse to impact this as well.
Okay, so there was a lot of talk about either one bill, one big beautiful bill, or two bills to get the president's agenda across the finish line.
Yeah.
We have new developments tonight, and that is that as Senate Budget Chair, Lindsey Graham believes he does not need the approval or permission, and there is precedent for this, of the Senate parliamentarian to get reconciliation passed. What is the status on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the American people think, the people they elect should be in control, not some parliamentarian determining what you can and can't do as a member of the United States Senate, as a member of the United States Congress. So I think Senator Graham is correct. The Senate has a unique set of rules. I'm not as familiar with them as we are the House rules. But if he thinks that can happen, I think the American people agree. They elected the senators. They didn't elect some parliamentarian. Ultimately, the senators are in charge. And if they can determine how to get this done over there, how to navigate through the rules they have and get the product that the president campaigned on and the American people want delivered, then I say go right ahead.
Okay, a lot of craziness in the House right now. What do you make of Jamie Raskin demanding that deported criminal illegal gang members come home? I'm all in favor if they live with him with an ankle bracelet, or Jasmine Crockett, hyperventilating about protecting the institution of the judiciary, but she wanted to impeach Clarence Thomas and Sam Alito. Who is the leader of the Democrats in the House right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously Hakeem Jeffries. Well, maybe not obviously, but that's their leader. I do think you're right, Sean. Remember, Chuck Schumer stood on the steps of the United States Supreme Court and said to Justice Kavanaugh and Justices Gorsuch that you will face the whirlwind if you don't rule the way the left wanted them to rule on a case pending in front of the court. So, and then they've also introduced legislation to pack the court. And they've also introduced legislation to impeach Supreme Court justices. And now they're calling us out when we can point to a judge like Judge Boasberg, who said, turn the plane around, bring the bad guys back. These were bad people. They weren't Boy Scouts. They were here illegally and did bad things in their native country and here in the United States. And he said, turn the plane around. And then you couple all that with the fact that Judge Boasberg is the same judge who was on the FISA court, the same judge who said to Kevin Kleinsmith, the guy who lied to the FISA court when they got the warrants to spy on President Trump's campaign, he gave that guy what the Wall Street Journal said was a slap on the wrist for lying to the court, the secret court. That's this judge. He does this ruling, and now he gets assigned the Hegseth case. And he's going to get to decide who the Secretary of State can talk to and how he has to do it? Come on. Come on. The American people, I think, see through all that. And that's why we're doing the work we're doing in the House. And Senator Grassley and the senators are doing the work they're doing in the Senate.
All right, Jim Jordan, as always.
How in the world did Boasberg, out of all the judges, get assigned the Hegseth case? Guys, this is so mind-blowingly biased, mind-blowingly one-sided, that they manipulate the court systems. People give it up. People hand it over. Something should happen. Something should happen when it comes to this manipulation of the judges, accountability, trying to control the president, trying to have their way. Like, it literally blows my mind how every single time when it comes to these judges, they somehow get the judge who's the most left, who hates Trump, who has outwardly spoken against Trump. You know they're not going to be unbiased. Even the judge Merchan wasn't unbiased in the New York trial case. That was a joke of a case too. And they tried to put Trump in jail for how many? Hundreds of years? Over a misfiled payment on the books that he don't even manage, guys? It is a joke that the Democrats will literally turn the United States into a banana republic just because there's no other way for them to win. They have no good policies. They can't import illegals into the system now. Like every single facet or tool that they had is being called out and exposed, and the American people see it, and now the only way that they can win is trying to go through the judiciary system. Want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, guys. Thank you to all of our subscribers and viewers. If you're not subscribed, please consider joining us here at the TrueLife News family. Guys, we want you here. We want you here. We want to keep growing this community. Want to say thank you so much to Deanna Lawrence and Ronald Phillips. Welcome to the family. Y'all show them some love in the chat. Guys, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button for us, we appreciate it so much. We are fighting some really deep stuff right now. And it's not like the Democrats anymore. It is the Democrats, but they're using a tool that has never been used in the history of the United States like it has against Trump, and something has to change. But with your support, guys, we are wanting to make sure we get the truth out there. When you like these videos, when you share them, it means the world to us, guys. We thank you so much. Want to say thank you to all those that given a super chat today, guys. Want to give some love to John Profchi Jr., Patsy Garcia, Kathy L., Pamela Dunbar, B1 Sly One, April Green, Summerman, Angel O'Rourke, Michelle Lindsay, Patrick Trebet, Deanna Lawrence, Ronald Phillips. Guys, y'all show them some love in the chat. If you want to be a member, guys, the link is in the description to join. And remember, it's only 99 cents a month. We take that money, and on the 22nd of every single month, we donate to charity. And guys, we have given over $31,000 live on stream through your support. And we want to continue growing that. We want to continue growing this family. And just want to say thank you. Me and my family are so grateful that we get to serve you every single day. Because it matters, guys. Getting the truth out there. Seeing the actual receipts matters. We love you. Appreciate you. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.